again with another update, and hopefully this will be able to help everybody as we're going through this transition or this shift. A lot of good updates, and I want to just drop some information on you so you can be able to utilize this as you're going through your shift. But um, hopefully you can use this far beyond the shift, and it goes into uh, a daily practice that you're able to remember. But before we get to that, we're going to go ahead and give you a few updates that's been going on around the world. But really, let's just start here. Let's keep it here first, and then I'll give you some of the biggest updates to me that lets me know that some of the things about the shift. Peace and love, born the best. So, recently, I don't know if you all have been watching or seeing Joe Biden in the administration. Pretty much, he's in a senile state. He's pretty much in a condition where he got, some are calling Alzheimer's, some are saying dementia, but he's pretty much no good anymore. So it won't be long till they get him out of there. Uh, but recently he's been blaming Vladimir Putin for the Kool-Aid, and when I say Kool-Aid, everybody know that that's talking more specifically about the jab. Uh, Grand Rising, Shanita Reek. So he's been blaming everybody but himself, and even for inflation. But we know that way before this alleged war broke out or started, everything was already inflated, and there were shortages and things like that. So this alleged war that he's blaming on Putin is really funny. This is how colonizers do. They victimize someone that they don't like or want to remove. Then they blame them, and then they go and take their resources after they demolish them. So that's what's actually taking place now. But they're fighting back, and this whole Nazi agenda is still real. It never really died. It just transformed into something else. And they're even to add insult to injury. They're saying that those who were wearing masks or even still wearing masks, it may cause more problems than you think to your health, to your lungs, to the spread of this Kool-Aid. So you wasn't really safe the entire time. Last year, or when it first started here, it spread around the world, but when it first started here, they were saying that we need to have more respect for the frontliners. And now you see the shift when people don't want to get the jab. Now they're saying that, you know, it's offensive and how disrespectful they're being. Um, but, now they're saying, those who are wearing masks are actually having higher chances for this whole situation. So just want to give you a few updates. And then also looking at the Federal Communications Commissioner, Brendan Carr, he's been talking about getting rid of Biden's Ministry of Truth, okay, which he deemed himself unconstitutional and illegal. And the part I like also is that it's unlawful because basically they're trying to put a censorship or control consciousness being spread. Today, there's a lot of different things that people are waking up to, and they're using different tools and methods that's going to be around until the end of time, which is communication. And so Trump is still active and still using that platform, his platform, to speak um, and communicate to the people as well as other people to try to get this thing back on task, at least to where you have a fighting chance. And this is why George Soros and Bill Gates are trying to team up to stop uh, Elon Musk from getting Twitter. Okay, because Twitter again is way better than Facebook and Instagram as far as information being put out, and information as far as mainstream media versus independent media. You'll get more updates quicker, but um, Biden's FDA chief, Dr. Robert Calla, said that the independent media is the leading cause of death, okay, in the United States now. When you first listen to that, you think on the surface that that's a lie. Um, and the reason why you think that's a lie is because, for one, there's not a whole bunch of independent media outlets that rule the airways. It's all mainstream, and it's all controlled by Soros and other families. But so you think of that as a lie, but when you listen to it at second glance, you you start to see that, oh, he's telling the truth. He just coded it because he's sending a signal to the people that's in power like him, or that's in positions like him, that if you allow independent media to take over, that's going to be the leading cause of death at this landmass. But then he's also sending a signal to us that if we desire to get out of the situation we're in, we got to have our own independent media to tell our own story. And obviously, you see all the time, whenever something happens with us, the ones who are doing things to us are the ones reporting on it. So that's the problem. So we got to have our own media. And when you look at having your own media, you need to have it anyway. Every nation, that's independent, have their own media to a certain extent. But when you look at things that's taking place with the colonizers all around the world, you're looking at examples like the UK. Okay, in the UK, you have them introducing a bill, trying to pass legislation to um, engineer uh, basically gene editing. So we got GMOs already, but they're trying to go into pass legislation to allow gene editing. And basically, they're going to edit animals and plants and crops in an attempt, as they say, to allow Britain to have better agricultural productivity. Now, this gene editing allegedly is supposed to pose less risk, okay, genetic modification, and that's going to be something that they've already been testing on, and they're going to try to introduce very shortly. But basically, it's supposed to be better because it doesn't involve DNA from other species. Okay, so we'll put that to the test when a lot of people start dropping and getting sicker, or actually transitioning. Um, and now you're already familiar with the process of genetically modified organisms, because when you go to the corner store, you go to Walmart or wherever, and you're getting Doritos or Cheetos or Piece of Love Natalie, and when you're getting onion rings, whatever it is, all of these have been genetically modified or engineered. And what that does to the body is it alters your DNA. And so when you're placing all of these things inside your body, it's breaking down the DNA. And it's breaking down those strands, so it can't repair as quickly, and it's not as strong. Okay, and this is where sickness and all these other things begin to take place when the body is weakened. So they're trying to introduce this bill, and it includes two notification systems. And so basically, breeders, they have to notify the Department of Environment and uh, the Food and Rural Affairs of Precision Organisms. They have to notify them and put it on a public register when they're doing these modification or these editing, gene editing. So gene editing and gene modification is still posing high risk to the environment and the food chain and everything in the environment. You're a part of the environment, so it's going to pose a threat to you as well. Um, so these are some of the updates I wanted to bring to you all. And before I just give you something that I thought I was reflecting on during this Mercury retrograde. But before that, you also got rivers and skies that's been turning bloodshot red, crimson red around the world, in China, Russia, Lebanon, the Netherlands. Then you got waters that's been turning red over here as well at this landmass and in Australia. So, and you can research it, look it up for yourself. Some are saying that this is a prophecy that's coming true in Revelations, but this has already been foretold long before that. Um, these things have been turning red over this past week, actually, the water and the skies. And the explanation that they're giving for why everything is turning red in China is laughable. But I'll let you do your research for that. So, um, all of these different things are carrying around the world right now. And it's time for the cosmic shift to take place. Um, and it don't always have to be on a major scale. It could start off small, and that's what I want to like cover to start off small that'll help you so you can remember that the power that created you is within you, um, and you can tap into this power or reach it in many different type of ways, and one you could call forth this power that's within you just by simply having a positive attitude. Okay, and some of you might be asking, well, how do you know if you have a positive or negative attitude to start off? But you can look at your life conditions or your situations as an indicator, because this is what you're projecting onto the universe and it's sending it back to you. So having a positive attitude or mindset, this helps you to better have that better expression of the creator that's inside of you. So positivity expresses and negativity represses. Okay, so um, a positive attitude can allow you to allow the power that's within you that created you to better express itself once you remove the ego-based thinking. Okay, and a lot of people's conscious mind is filled with ego-based thinking. Okay, and these ego-based thought patterns come from the outside projected reality that you allow into your conscious mind. Okay, so when you're feeding a conscious mind with ego-based thinking, this ego-based thought pattern seeps down into your subconscious mind, and it remains stored in your subconscious mind. And so the problem becomes or comes about when situations come up and different things pop up, and you go to the default, and the default is the subconscious mind, because these are the things that's stored in you that you're putting into your conscious mind. And this is where you begin to make those statements like, oh, I don't know why I thought this in certain situations, or why I said this in certain situations, or why I acted this way in certain situations. And that's because you are unconscious of what you're allowing to enter your conscious mind, which seeps down into your subconscious mind. And remember, when it's stored in the subconscious, you automatically use that as a default when something happens, and you can either react or respond. So this is why it's important that you clean up your conscious mind and you be aware of what you're allowing to come into your conscious mind. Okay, because if you don't take control of what you allow to come into your conscious mind, it's like setting your subconscious mind at default to be on autopilot and controlled by whatever you allow um, to enter. So um, you also need to be very aware of that as well, because whatever you allow in, you are projecting out. So whatever is inside of you is going to come out. Eventually, you're going to be projecting that out to the universe, and guess what? It's going to come back to you. Um, so we all know about the whole saying, what goes around comes around. So if you are not consciously aware of your surroundings and what you're allowing to be put in, you're going to be reaping what you're putting out based off what you're allowing in. So the circle has to come complete. It has to come back to you. So in order to complete that circle, whatever you put out, it has to come back. So you might be asking, why is this the case, or why, um, you know, is that something that you have to focus on or either observe or examine? But that's because you contracted everything that's in your reality. You already signed up for before you came back down here. And so everything that you're experiencing in life now is something that you contracted. Okay, and you might be asking, Why did I contract this? It's because in a prior life, or previously before entering this life, you wanted these circumstances or conditions to help your soul to grow. And you wanted to expand your soul. So on a soul level, you're working off karmic debt. And that karmic debt that you've accumulated over many lifetimes uh, is something that we all have to work on while we're here. So if you're born, if you're incarnated on earth right now, all of us have work to do. So that's something that's actually taking place now. And what you can start doing right now to work off some of that karmic debt is have a positive attitude. Okay, you could start you could work on by start having a positive attitude, and this will allow the power that created you within to start to enter your conscious mind, which will go down to your subconscious mind. Then you'll have better responses to life, and you'll actually start to alter your reality or project it or perceive reality. And the creator within will begin to express itself within you, and then you'll begin to receive more of what you're putting out. So some people are working off that karmic debt, but not everybody. Some people are also working through the Dharma wheel. Um, they're beginning to create their own or new set of karma in this lifetime. So uh, their soul can begin to grow as well. So the whole point of it is to work on the things that you're allowing into the mind as we reflect during this retrograde. If not, you'll have examples of people like Richard Hernandez. If you look him up, he is a former banker, former vice president of the leading financial banking institutions on this landmass, right? And you got a person here who was so that's right, Yolanda Marks. You got a person here who was so outside of his mind and allowed those outside circumstances um, to influence him. He didn't take control of it. So he literally, look it up, shape shifted into a reptile. Now I know you might be like, what? A reptile? Look it up. This is nothing, out of the norm. He had surgery to physically alter his body to the point where he no longer have ears. He has a split tongue. He has horns all over his body. He wants to be a genderless reptile, and the reason why he said it is because he don't want to deal with the spiritual pain of being a human. And when you don't deal with the things that you allow um, into the conscious mind, this is the type of responses that you'll get, or I should reactions you'll get. And when you look at the reactions, this is all triggered from a person that's not in tune with self. And the whole goal is to get in tune with self um, while you're here. Okay, learn thyself, man, know thyself is actually something that is written on all the walls, so that you can be in tune with who you really are, which is the creator within, not the ego-based self. So just wanted to give y'all, some quick reflections during this Mercury retrograde, and hopefully, as this time is shifting, the energy is shifting all over the world. You're seeing physical signs, sinkholes, the water's turning red, and I'm pretty sure there's a good explanation for it, but the ones that they're providing is not doesn't make common sense. So there's different shifts happening right now all around the world. Again, electrical shortages. Um, you got different sinkholes happening all over. One just happened here in Maryland 2 days ago. And then you also have the skies turning red. So you got all these different shifts taking place physically that you can visibly see from Mother Nature. So we are in tune with nature, or if you're not, you got to get in tune and get on the rhythm or the pattern of nature. Peace and love, Noble Trent. Good to see you. So when this shift is taking place, you don't want to be out of alignment. Um, a lot of people say when things happen, what to do if they do this, if they shut down everything, what to do, or if a power outage go out, what to do. when you're in tune with nature, you'll know what to do, and that's the whole goal. So during this, retrograde, go ahead and reflect on the things that you're allowing to seep into your mind, which is ultimately ruling your life, and then you can begin to get on the path to change that. So I hope this was able to help you all out, and I hope you're able to take something from this, so you'll be able to use it in your everyday life. And I'm going to continue to try to help you reflect during this week up until the eclipse, and we're going to do a lot for the eclipse, and hopefully you guys can see some good results from here. So peace and love. Enjoy the rest of your week or your day. um, Hotep, may your soul find satisfaction. Peace and love.